everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for letting me take a small break after Sketchmas this year. I am excited, reinvigorated and ready to create for 2021. Now, I thought it'd be really fun this video to talk about like my art goals and art targets for the year, but first, let me explain a little bit about what I'm doing in the video. So one of my main goals for this year is actually to do with my tea dragons. I really want to do a sort of like art book / cookbook style, and some like maybe like tea towels and stuff to do with the tea dragons. Really enjoyed drawing them last year, and it was one of my favorite things that actually came out of creating last year, and it's something that I really want to push further on. So I've actually been designing a few more dragons, getting stuff ready, and sort of like creating like ideas and that. So what I'm doing here is the berry dragon, and this one is for a berry medley tea. This is really good for like antioxidants and all that, and it just overall tastes really lovely if you're ever feeling under the weather, which I have been feeling lately. Honestly, it's really nice to have. Some people prefer like hot Vimto. I'm not really a fan of Vimto, but you know, it's something that you can do. So I'm just using watercolors here, and you can see that when I put it down with washi tape. Not this washi tape, because this one's actually for this month's shop launch, but I digress. Basically, I'm doing a watercolor painting of this berry dragon using Winsor & Newton watercolors, a Unipin fine liner. I'm also using acrylic pens in this. For the full list of equipment, it is all down below. So 2021, it is a new year, and when we think about New Year's, we think about setting goals for the year, and sometimes we can have very unrealistic targets. So for me, I set projects that I would like to have done this year. So for me personally, one of my projects I really want to work on is I want to work on improving this channel. So this is different video editing, some different sort of like story time videos. There will be a monthly studio vlog that will be happening. I also want to do an overhaul with all the graphics as well. So I want to do a new intro and a new outro and do all the headers and stuff. That's a long-term project, so I'm expecting to get that done by the end of February. I really wanted to work on it this month, but unfortunately I've been poorly for the first 2 weeks of the year. It's just a really common cold. I've been completely knocked out because I haven't been ill for quite a long time. You can probably hear it in my voice actually. I'm absolutely fine, don't worry about me. I'm drinking plenty of fluids, staying inside, you know, with everything that's been going on, just taking extra precautions just in case, because you never know. So that was my original plan for this month, was going to be my overhaul month, because I was going to work on graphics for my shop launch and for doing overhauls on like Patreon and stuff like that. But unfortunately I'm a little bit behind schedule, so my realistic target for this month was just to work on the shop launch, and this is a really good way to be able to break it down. So I actually have a planner journal, and what I do is I put projects on sticky notes, and I will put that project sticky note maybe on the week that I'm thinking of working on that week. If I don't get to it, that is absolutely fine. There is always other stuff to work on than projects. Like for me, there is commissions that need working on, there is Patreon work, client work that needs working on, and then you've got your admin side of things as well, and that can take time. Making new merchandise also takes time. Researching merchandise, I cannot tell you how many hours I spend like researching different printers for different projects. Like, it is absolutely insane, and it's a big part of being a freelance artist, and that's one of the reasons why I really want to do the monthly studio vlogs. The monthly studio vlogs is sort of like a behind the scenes of like what happened that month. So the way I would like to do it is, say, January's studio vlog will go up in February, and February's will go up in March, and so on and so forth. This is a new venture for me, and I'm really excited. Another thing I really want to get into this year is I want to stream more. I actually really wanted to start streaming last week. This all was going to start last week, but because I ended up with being quite poorly, everything's kind of been pushed back a little bit. So this is sort of like my new launch, if that makes any sense. I don't know, does that make sense? I've no clue. I actually want to start streaming more, so I want to do the Sunday streams here upon the YouTube channel, and we'll mix that between art streams and game streams, because I know people wanted me to continue Spiritfarer. I've also bought a few games as well, which I think would be perfect played together up on the channel. I recently purchased Night in the Woods, which I think would be perfect for this channel because it is a really beautiful story-based game, beautiful animation, and I really kind of want to bring, if I'm doing these sort of game streams, sort of games that are very inspirational, not only for art styles but for story basing, because there are some very just absolutely stunning artistic games out there. Maybe we'll even play Undertale at some point. I don't know. You'd have to let me know what game streams that you would look forward to. It wouldn't be like, hey, follow me while I play Final Fantasy, because I don't think that's really fun. I wanted something a little bit more interactive and something a little bit more, you know, let's have a look at this artistic game. They're really fun to play. I've just actually been speaking of games, I built a really sick fort in Minecraft this week. I was very proud of myself. I have so many bees. I'm still hunting for axolotls. I cannot find axolotls, but I digress. I've actually been playing Ni no Kuni up on the Switch as well, because I got it in the sales and I was like, hey, I want to play this game because I've not played it for so long. Ni no Kuni is a really beautiful game. As well, it's done by Studio Ghibli, and I think the gaming studio is level 5. I cannot remember off the top of my head, so do not take my word for that, but if you do a little bit of research into it, it's just a really beautifully styled game. Can't wait for them to bring out Ni no Kuni 2 actually on the Switch. I think that'd be so much fun. But I like playing games, and I play games in my downtime, so I think it'd be really fun to share with you guys. And on top of that, I also want to start Twitch streaming. Now, I know quite a few people here follow me up on the channel because they like regular content and they like the streams up on the channel, but the user interface on YouTube can be a little bit tricky sometimes, and I haven't streamed on Twitch in a while, and my other art friends do it, and I'm considering if everything that's going on, I don't think conventions are actually going to start again until very, very late this year, which is going to give me a little bit more time. So I am thinking of streaming. It's going to be once a week on Twitch, just so that I could fit it into my schedule, because, you know, that happens. Another thing I really want to do this year is I want to work on an art book. I originally did want to do another colouring book this year, but I kind of want to do an art book and have an art book project, because I've not done one of those for ages. The Tea Dragons is sort of like an art book slash like a kitchen-y style, because I have this sort of like idea for the Tea Dragons to be like this set of postcard prints that you can hang up in there, like a little like art book slash like cookery book that's illustrated with all like tea dragons, so it's like a fantasy style like cookbook in a way. I thought that would be really fun to do, with tea towels and like tea strainers. Like I've been thinking about this. Like when I say I've thought about it, I have thought about it. And that's the sort of like idea I've had with the Tea Dragons, and that's quite a long-term project. I'm probably thinking about mid-year for that. So aim to have that done between June and July, and have the Kickstarter launch in either June and July, because when I do a Kickstarter, I like the bulk of the project to be done. As well as that, I'm reworking Plant Witch this year. I actually want to really get Plant Witch started and out there, because once it's started and out there, it is, you know, it's a project, it has to be worked on. I'm actually thinking of maybe putting it up on Webtoons, but I want to get a bulk of the project done before I start releasing it up online, so that when I have a full enough book, there's already a few pages up online, maybe like half a chapter's up online, and then when the book's done, we can start looking at the Kickstarter for that. But that's a long-term project, and this is what I mean by setting realistic goals. You want realistic goals to work towards. Now, Plant Witch has been a project that I've ummed and ahed about working on for a while, and I have been working on a lot of like the backstory stuff, project designs, and all with that. But the issue that I've had was with the story, because it was a wordless comic. I was really struggling with it. And I'm changing up directions that I was working on for that, so that I can feel much better about that project, and I'm a lot happier with the project going forward. The original pages that I've done were done traditionally, and I'm changing that up, and I'm probably going to work on it digitally. This is mainly because not only does it give me digital practice, it's still going to have like the traditional coloured feel. I'm using a lot of textured paints, a lot of textured work, but when I was scanning the pages in and editing, it just wasn't as vibrant as what I wanted, and it just didn't look as professional as I wanted. So those original pages, they are not lost to the wind. They are actually going to be a part of the Plant Witch art book, which would come along outside of the Plant Witch volume 1. But that's a long-term project yet again. So for this year, 3 major things I'm working on. Tea Dragons. I'm going to start really working on Plant Witch, which Patreons will get behind the scenes access of everything I'm working on, and possibly an art book this year. Now that seems like a lot, but when you break it down, there is like certain things that I can concentrate on. Okay, if it's an art book, what theme are we going for? Decide on the theme and then go from there. I did originally think with all the colouring pages that I had done, I could just colour all those colouring pages, especially for the Plant Witch colouring book, and create like a sort of like art book around that. If that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comment section down below. And this comes to you guys. What do you want to see? I have a lot of projects that I'm working on, and as a freelance artist, I really like to stay busy. It is one of my most terrible things. I am constantly working, and I'm constantly working because I really enjoy it, but it can get overwhelming sometimes. This is why I have breakdowns for myself so that I can solidly work on a project. I felt like last year I didn't work on too much, but actually when I step back and look at it, not only was it my first year working on freelance, I released a colouring book, and I actually worked on a few projects that I wasn't anticipating, and I'm really happy about that. There is a few projects that kind of went like to the wayside because conventions weren't happening anymore, which kind of makes me very sad. One of the things I did have was like sort of like a D&D book, which was like a guide to the D&D campaign that I'd done, but that's obviously a different crowd to other crowds that I talk about. I'm a huge Dungeons and Dragons fan, but people outside of the convention scene don't really know much about my conventions, and people outside of you guys don't really know. I mean, I haven't told you that much about the D&D campaign, but I digress. There is a lot that I could have done last year, but I'm happy for the projects that I did, and for what I achieved, I'm very proud of myself. And that's a thing that you need to take back and think about. Even if you did one project last year, and bear in mind last year is a very difficult year, right? Even if you did one thing last year, you did it, and you should be extremely proud of yourself. This is why setting goals and being realistic about them and breaking a project down can be so much easier if you break it down. That's why when I had set myself a target, I break down the project. Hope this video has been fun. It's the first video of 2021, and I hope you enjoyed this editing style. I tried something a little bit different today, and I really enjoyed this. I quite like this piece. It's a very peaceful dragon, but she needs a name. Let me know in the comments section down below. Hope you all have a wonderful 2021. Let's set goals, be creative, and most of all, have fun. Thank you all for watching, and stay creative.